summer wind. Like painting kites, those days and nights went flying.
Harry Cowley about the globalisation that's occurring in Henley Town. Hi, thank you very much for speaking to me today.
That's absolutely fine.
So firstly, how do you as a citizen of Henley feel about the globalisation occurring in the Henley community?
Well, I mean, on the one hand it's good because you're getting new shops, but they were apparently going to be bringing in a McDonald's, and I don't think that's a good idea because it looks shabby, and it just attracts the wrong kind of people. Sorry to say.
Yeah,
but,
yeah, I agree. As you obviously live in Henley and use the shops and cafes in the town, do you prefer the smaller independent shops or the bigger franchises such as Starbucks?
Well, although the smaller independent shops are usually more expensive, they usually do better. They have better service, they make better food, better coffee a lot of times. I mean, I've been to Starbucks quite a few times, and I mean they're nice in there and stuff, but I prefer just normal coffee shops that aren't big chains.
Yeah. How long have you actually lived in Henley?
About 7 years, 8 years.
So have you seen a change in the community as the bigger shops have?
Yes, especially in this area. I mean, a lot of the shops over there have closed down, and you'll just see big boarded up things like that over there. And
it's not very attractive,
no,
is it?
It's sort of, it ruins the look of the place.
Yeah. How many independent shops roughly were there when you moved in as opposed to now?
I don't know the exact number, but a lot more than there are now. Maybe 5 more than there are now, which is a real shame because they were really nice.
Probably gave more of a community feel.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. If there was a campaign to keep the smaller shops open, would you put your name down?
Yeah, definitely. If it was like a petition for the government, yeah, I would definitely do that.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea, I think. Do you feel Henley has lost its kind of non-commercialised feel that it has compared to now?
I don't think it has yet, but I think it might be losing it. It's slowly getting to that point. Yeah, if McDonald's comes in, then it's lost it.
Okay, well, thank you very much for speaking to me today.
That's absolutely fine.
Have a good day.
Yeah, I will. You too.
How are you?
Hi, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, I'm alright, thank you. So do you live in Henley?
I do, yes.
How long have you lived here?
I moved here from London about 3 years ago.
Okay, is it a nice place to live?
It's different from London, it's a lot quieter, but yeah, it's very nice.
What's the community like as a whole?
It's okay. It's quite cliquey actually.
Yeah.
But it's quite nice. People are friendly. People say hello to you. It's nice. It's not a rough area or anything.
Yeah.
So I can't complain.
Yeah. So how do you feel about the sort of globalisation that is happening in Henley at the moment?
Well, since I moved here 3 years ago, I think the town square has lost. Last count was about 7 independent shops.
Yeah.
Which is a huge shame, and I've heard on the grapevine that they've got McDonald's coming,
Yeah.
which is awful.
It's going to ruin it.
Yeah, I think it's going to ruin it. Not because I don't like McDonald's. I mean, everyone likes McDonald's every now and then, but
It's not the right town.
it's not the right town. It is. It's full of independent shops, and it should stay like that.
Yeah.
We have Starbucks, we have Cafe Nero's, and now I think they're bringing a Costa.
Yeah, you got Domino's.
And Domino's is coming, and it's just turning into any other town in the country really, where once it did used to have that community feel, independent people could bring up independent shops, and it was just a more of a community than it is now.
Yeah. I remember when I used to come here, like even like 3 or 4 years ago, and there'd be so many more sort of family-run shops, and it'd be more like a little village rather than a
a bigger town. It's turning into like a mini Reading or a mini Maidenhead,
Yeah.
which it shouldn't be really. And there are shops that baby shops, children's shops, art shops, clothes shops that are all very independent. So
You wanna keep it,
You
sort
do
of.
want to keep it. I think that's what Henley is. Like
It's
I
one of
said.
the like few towns we've got left that's quite still community based.
And it's a shame. I mean, if independent shops can shut in Henley, then I don't know where the country's going to
Yeah.
really. But Henley's meant to be an affluent area with the higher end, richer people in it, and the
Yeah.
independent shops are shutting. It's a shame. It's
Yeah.
a huge shame.
What do you prefer personally? Do you prefer the sort of bigger franchises such as Starbucks, or do you prefer sort of going to the more family-run cafes?
I like the family-run cafes. I would go to them. There's one in town called Hot Gossip, except my dog, which is always nice. And they try
more
to. It is a
personal.
lot more personal. And if you don't like a sandwich a certain way, or you want something else on a jacket potato, they're more than happy to help you. Where the Starbucks
It's all
and
pre-prepared. You've got to take what they give you.
yeah,
kind of thing.
exactly. And I'm not really. And it's very American, Starbucks, what's your name?
Yeah.
And it's just, I want a cup of coffee, I want it how I like it,
Yeah.
and that's it. You don't have to kind of make it personal by asking my name. It's just a very different style. And yeah, I prefer it. Like Hot Gossip know me, other
Yeah.
shops know me when I walk in, know my dog, and that's what I like.
Yeah. You obviously mentioned about McDonald's possibly coming in. What do you think about that?
And like I said earlier, it's somewhere all of the students of Henley are going to go, which is fine, but it's going to cause a mess as well. And there's going to be litter everywhere and McDonald's
It's not really a
wrapping
healthy
everywhere.
option.
And it's not a healthy option, no. And I know McDonald's do all the kind of fruits and stuff, but I mean, you guys aren't going to go and eat that, are you? If you
No.
could have a Big Mac on your doorstep. And I think Subway's coming as well, or something
Yeah.
like that. And it's just
Possibly replacing Block, which was quite a nice
which was a
cafe.
nice cafe. They still have one in Marlow, I think, a Block in Marlow.
Yeah.
So, I don't see why we couldn't have kept it.
Yeah, it is a shame because it was a nice place to go, but I guess the bigger places are
Bigger
coming
shops
in.
are taking over, and like I say, it's not just in Henley; it's all over the country. But if Henley is failing on its independent shops, then I think something needs to be done.
Yeah, no, I agree. Thank you very much for speaking
You're
to
more
me
than
today.
welcome.
Thank you.
very much.
Hot Gossip Coffee Shop, Henley-on-Thames.
Hi, how are you doing?
Fine, thank you, yes.
Good. So firstly, how long have you been open for?
6 years, it'll be 6 years in August.
Okay. Has it been fun sort of having the shop?
Oh, it has, yeah. I mean, it was a totally new start for me. I'd originally been a graphic designer
Oh, okay.
many years, so it was a whole change of direction.
Yeah.
So it's been a real learning curve, yeah.
What made you want to go from sort of
Um,
graphic design?
Well, it was, I didn't want to end my working life working for somebody else.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do something I could do myself, and I
yourself.
went on this coffee course and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So that's where the idea sprang from.
Yeah, it's a lovely little shop.
Thank you.
So firstly, how do you feel about the globalisation occurring in Henley?
I find it very worrying because I think it's lovely to have independent shops and to have each town looking different. At the moment they're turning into clones, and I think you see in the north where I'm from a lot of still independent shops, but that's creeping up there as well, and certainly it's completely changing in the south now.
Yeah, it's a shame because
Yeah.
Henley used to be quite a sort of community, really independent, like family-run shop.
It did. Yeah,
Sounds
and I think when you're a small market town, you've got to have something different to
Yeah,
offer
yeah.
when people come.
How has Henley as a community changed since the sort of bigger franchises have moved in, sort of like Starbucks?
I think that it's well, it's changing all the time because it's a bit of a commuter town as well. So people don't tend to. There are some that obviously live here for years and years,
Yeah.
but some don't stay for long. But I think it is changing. It's affecting the smaller ones because the rents are rising. Because the landlords know that they can command more
And they
from
can't
a
afford
multinational.
to pay for
And a lot of the multinationals, they don't need to make a profit necessarily. They can get away with paying corporation tax by offsetting it on advertising. So it's good to have a prominent position in Henley just for advertising.
Yeah.
But the independents need to actually, it's their livelihood. They need to make a living.
Yeah, it's a shame because like you forget about the smaller places when
Yes.
you've got Starbucks right on that corner
Yeah.
of the main
That's
square.
right, yeah, and people go in there, you know, and fair enough. I mean, and I wouldn't knock such a Starbucks because at the end of the day, they brought about this awareness to the country about coffee, which we did have to some extent in the 1950s and the 60s, but they brought about a new awareness of coffee.
Yeah. Do you find you have a mix of new and older customers, or do you only sort of have your loyal group that have been coming to you for years?
I think we have a very high percentage of regular customers that that come in on a daily basis, a very high proportion. But we do have a good mix, young and old, and young mums and professionals and quite a lot of men as well coming to the coffee shop. Whereas it used to be more women who went in. We're getting more and more men.
Yeah. I've noticed you allow animals to
Yes,
come in,
yeah,
so that
we
must
always,
bring more people in as
Yeah,
well.
we love dogs coming in.
Yeah.
We always have dog biscuits and water for them. And we've even had a parrot in here that had cake in the garden. Yeah, so that was quite nice.
That must bring more people in, knowing that they
It
can bring their
does.
pets in.
Because I think it's very important to have a place, and there's no reason why that with health and safety that you aren't allowed to have animals in.
Yeah.
And they're actually, I got in touch with the Kennel Club of Great Britain when I opened, because they're trying to promote it more in coffee shops and in restaurants, as it is in the rest of Europe.
Yeah. Do you blame the new franchises for sort of putting stress on the smaller companies for having possibility of closure?
You can't blame them really, because that's what they do and that's their business. But I think that the landlords need to be addressed a bit and to be a bit more cautious and to give equal opportunity to independents, because it's very difficult for somebody starting a business to get actually a lease in the first place.
Yeah.
Because the landlords naturally favour those they know that can pay, and so they're willing to take a chance. But it'd be nice if they could give a step up to new people
Smaller,
coming
more
in.
independent ones, so they have a
That's
chance at
right.
least sort of
Yeah.
getting started. Finally, do you still see your shop doing well in sort of 6 months to a year's time? Do you think anything might?
I do. I mean, there's a threat of more opposition. I mean, Costa's coming into Henley, which will have a huge knock on it. And you can't say that they don't have an effect, because they do.
Yeah.
And but I think that you can't afford to rest on your laurels. You've got to step up a bit that's it, and to actually bring the business in. I don't think you can afford anymore to sit in a shop and wait for people to come in through the door.
Yeah.
I think you've got to be a bit more proactive and try different things, which I think that a lot are now doing that, you know, and leafleting and going out.
Getting people knowing.
That's right, because even if you can't afford advertising, it's word of mouth is the best thing.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you very much for speaking to me
Thank
today.
you. Okay.